Is that one of your Boston butts? I've heard you're better than that.
Yeah, that's got good bark on it, I'll say that.
I'm going to the store. Got to pick up more of this. I've got a Christmas event tonight. I'm doing the centerpiece. Need some. What should I do for a Christmas
Why
party?
don't you pick up a ham? We'll twice smoke a ham today.
Very Christmassy thing to do. I like it.
Fire it up.
From the birthplace of American barbecue, it is Great TV, Low Country of South Carolina. Here, I got a variety pack.
Oh, awesome. Good thing you bought the variety pack when you were at the store. I get Shiner Bohemian Black Lager. That sounds good.
Shiner from Shiner, Texas.
Hefeweiss. You know what Hefeweiss means?
What does it mean?
I think it's wheat beer. Go ahead and shoot that thing across.
That'll make you a heifer.
Shoot that thing across the set like you normally do.
Okay. I don't know if I can. Oh, sorry, Mary. Hit the camera person.
Hit the camera girl right in the head.
We got a Christmas event. Sorry. Jack at GreatTV.com. It's Bill at GreatTV.com. Jack's 3-time South Carolina state champion. I'm with BarbecueTricks.com. Take a trip. This is the beer that's the show that is a beer in length.
Just about a beer.
We better get cracking.
Let's get doing it.
Holiday party or holiday dinner. To you screams, got to have what?
You got to have ham. You got to actually the protein, the centerpiece of a Christmas meal is always the protein. Be it a ham or a turkey or prime rib or whatever you're doing. But ham to me always screams Christmas. How about you?
I can even smell. We got pineapples in here. Just the smell of the pineapple. To me, Christmas might be a roast or turkey still, but ham is also usually part of it.
Yeah. Well, here we have a ham, and Bill was good enough to pick up the butt part of the ham. There's a ham is separated into butts and shanks. This is a cured ham. When ham is the back leg of the hog. So it's when you order a ham, most people think that you order ham and this is what you get as a cured product. This is a cured ham. There's also a product called green ham or fresh ham, which is the same body part. It's the back leg of the hog. And this is cut. This is the butt, and there's another piece called the shank. And the shank, you'll notice to see how rounded this is right here. The shank will have that big bone shining out the back end of it. Usually the shank has more bone in it, and you'll be discounted in the case probably 20 cents a pound because it has so much bone in it.
Okay.
You get a better yield out of the butt than you will out of
as far as the flavor, obviously it's the same piece of muscle, so about the same thing.
Yeah. Cured ham is fairly easy to make. You can cure your own ham, but when you do your own cures, you have to have the right ingredients, and that involves the nitrites and the nitrates and so on and so forth. And you need to have a space big enough to put it in, and you need to have a constant temperature. So you can cure your own ham.
Cure, it's basically smoking and adding nitrates.
Right. The curing process is done a lot of different ways. These are done in a wet cure or in a liquid. When you do a dry cure, that's more common in what they call country hams. So country ham is also a ham, the back leg of the hog, but they put a dry rub on it, and then they usually hang it somewhere at a constant temperature, cool, and that's why you see a lot of those country hams come out of Tennessee and Kentucky.
And it actually is a more concentrated flavor.
Yes, and it's usually very salty because they rub the ham, the outside of the flesh, all with this really salty curing salts, and then they hang it and they let it go ahead and do its thing.
So we're going to do twice smoked.
We're going to do twice smoked ham.
Cured ham, and so what are we going to do to this?
We need to make it look great because it's going to be a centerpiece of the table. So to do that, we're going to do some cross hatching. And cross hatching is relatively easy. You just take a knife, and I think this is
the Yoshi blade.
Yoshi blade.
Let's see, because that was about 2 years ago. Is it still?
Didn't we do a show in the Yoshi?
Well, we talked about ceramic knives.
Still very sharp, and I'm kind of careful about how I do this because I want to be sure that I get the same distance between each of the cuts. So when it does do its separation as it cooks, the water is going to come out of here, and the ham is going to kind of peel apart a little bit. So the cross hatching is going to be very evident. So I kind of keep track of it, and I cut it into it, not really deep into it, but I cut it in there just enough to get that top skin kind of scored is what we're doing. And so we get one way done. So we got it all scored up. Everything's looking good there. Now we're going to add a little bit of mustard to it.
Nice.
Now you know from shows we've done in the past that mustard is an adherent, right? That's really what we're using it here for, is to adhere the spices to the outside and to make kind of a nice little crust for us. So we'll rub this whole thing all over real good with mustard. We'll make sure we get some on the front because we want to adhere spices to the front too. So all we're doing here is making bark, and we're making bark the same way we do here that we do with any of the meats that we work with, Bill. We put a spice rub on the outside. We put something good on there to make it all right. We're not going to inject this ham at all because, quite frankly, it's already been injected with all the cure that it's going to be injected with.
Why don't you use a big fancy $5 mustard?
Because we call this CYM, cheap yellow mustard. It doesn't taste. It doesn't taste like anything anyway. All we're using it for is the adherent. You could use Dijon mustards if you want to, or some coarse mustards from Publix if that's what the flavor that you want to put on here. It's certainly not. It wouldn't harm it.
CYA with the budget.
CYA with CYM.
Okay.
CYA with your CYM.
Yes.
And put a little hot sauce on here too. All right, so we're done with that. Then we get out the rub. And this is a rub that's called Mary's Cherry. It's by the Mary's Cherry Gourmet Company. And I like it on ham because it has a nice cherry flavor in it. And of course we're going to add pineapples and cherries. So that means that we're going to add that flavor right to it.
Cherries.
Yeah, I'm going to change my gloves out because they were all mustardy. And we're going to go ahead and move over to putting on the cherries and the pineapples. And this is, like I said, all we're really doing is decorating it up. So I kind of get a pineapple here and a cherry, and the toothpick kind of helps it out a little bit, so I can kind of put it down there and stick it in, and it'll kind of hang there, which is good. So we get a pineapple and a cherry, and this is just standard pineapple rings.
So when it's all prepped up, this is what we have.
Yeah, this is it right here. It's pretty prom date right there.
A little fruity, but nice looking. And you've barely touched your beer, so why don't we, at this point, what do we need to do? Get it on the smoker?
Yeah, let's go ahead and put it on the smoker. That's why they call it a twice smoked ham.
So one, let's do number two.
Okay.
You've done what?
We've cooked this until the point where we like the color. Then we went ahead and wrapped it in foil.
Yeah.
And now, with this ham is done. It reached an internal temperature of about 145 degrees. You don't want to overcook ham because the moisture will drop out of it. And of course, that's what makes ham dry. So we take it out of the foil, and then we'll go ahead and we'll just start applying the glaze. And this glaze is just a standard ham glaze, mustard, brown sugar, and cider vinegar. You can make the glaze pretty much taste any way you want to taste it by subbing out parts of the vinegar for different parts of the, in other words, if you want to have a bourbon glaze, you take out half the vinegar part and put in half a part of bourbon. If you want to do something like really neat with flavored vinegars, like a raspberry vinegar or a peach vinegar, you go ahead and substitute out the entire vinegar for maybe a peach vinegar or raspberry vinegar. If you're going to use balsamic vinegars, be careful with those. They're very strong. So we got a good coating of glaze on. We'll go ahead and pop the lid back on real quick. And we'll let that sit for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to take the lid off again in about 10 minutes, reapply the glaze again, take it off, and we'll probably do that 3 times over the course of 30 minutes so we get a nice kind of candy coated glaze with all the brown sugar in here. The brown sugar will kind of caramelize on the outside and make a wonderful coating. You mix that with the spices and it's just going to be fabulous.
So how long has that been?
It's been about 3 hours, maybe
nice.
A little bit longer. It's a beautiful ham. Look at that. That's
what happened to the yellow?
That's kind of like a centerpiece. The yellow kind of fades out as the sugars caramelize on top. There's still a little bit of yellow on there from the last glaze, but if we let this sit for just a little bit while longer, that would disappear as well. It's a great looking ham.
Can I try this?
Yeah, it's a smoked candied cherry right there. I bet that's good.
All right, so we got to dig into this thing.
We got to dig into it without a doubt. We got to get it sliced up. So we're going to go ahead and take us just a little slice off the front here. We're going to be careful about what we do.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas ham.
Do you know the ins and outs of carving this thing?
Sure. Just carve along the bone. The bone's going to run kind of a little bit of an angle, kind of like this. And so you just kind of like keep on this meaty side over here and everything's going to be good. We'll put this down. We'll cut up a little bit for everybody because it's the outside piece. and probably the best piece of all of it.
What do you do with the? Do you just carve up the pineapple and cherry chunks on top?
I like to do it that way. I'll take the toothpicks out because, you know, like you said earlier, pineapple and ham just go together. It's a wonderful time. It's a wonderful time of the year. The initial outside piece always goes to the chefs.
Oh, I'll take that. Cheers.
Merry Christmas, Bill.
Now remember, everybody, just jump online, send us great plates, shots like this, plated up, hashtag great plate, or just go to greattv.com/submit. You can send us your pictures there, and we love to see them. Also, subscribe all you can.
It's always a pleasure to see everybody in the Facebook page as well. Make sure you get to us one way or another. Buy local, think global, stay sustainable, and for every chance you get during the holiday season, hug your mama.
That's perfect. A little smoke there. You got a beer to finish.
That's wonderful.